Barack, Ahaya, Alam, Shalom, planet Earth. Welcome back to TRU-TALK. And as the Holy Scripture says, we overcome Satan by our testimonies. And as the apostles wrote, if we confess our sins, He's faithful enough to forgive us. So I want to tell a testimony and confess a couple of sins, or one or two sins maybe. And this was during, I think I was either 18 or 19 at the time. And I had got into it with my mother. I was staying with my mother. And this wasn't the first time that I got into it with her. And this wasn't the first time that I left. I said I wasn't coming back. And kind of packed my stuff up and had nowhere to go. Just so you can understand why I was in this situation, I'll tell you the first time that I left. Uh, First time that I left and I had nowhere to stay. Not too far from where I stayed at was this, I'm not going to say abandoned house, but this house that nobody stayed at. But you can tell the people, they always kept the grass cut, and you can tell it was a up the shape house. And so I broke into this house, and this house was empty, and all the furniture was in one room. In one room they had a whole bunch of beds and tables and chairs wrapped up in plastic, and the lights and water was on. So I stayed up for a couple of days, and I thought I found myself a little shelter. But something demonic happened while I was sleeping there one night, and it ran me away, and that scared me from ever breaking or going into any house to stay asleep. So I said I wasn't gonna never, especially go back to that house, but I wasn't gonna sleep in any uh, abandoned or empty house or building. That's how bad it scared me. And I remember going to a family member and asking them, can I stay? And they told me that they didn't mind, but I had to ask uh, their husband. So I asked him, at this time, I've been had nowhere to lay my head, body aching because I've just been walking the streets all day and night, sitting down on a hard bench at the park, hungry, same clothes, nowhere to go. And, they say, you get in a tough, go to family, right? Family. So I went to this particular family member because I used to visit this family member often, and, me and this family member used to always talk about the Most High. She used to encourage me in the Most High. So I felt like if anybody would help me, it would be her. And I mean, to be fair, she didn't do nothing wrong. She just said she didn't mind, but I had to ask her husband. And when I did ask him, he came at me so nasty and disrespectful. and he made me feel so just, he hurt my feelings. I didn't know where to beat him up or cry. And the way that he just talked to me like I was nothing. And told me that I can stay for 2 days. And he hurt my feelings so bad. I didn't even I didn't even stay them 2 days. And after that, I made up my mind that I wasn't gonna ask nobody ever again for any type of help. That's how bad I got my feelings hurt. And it was other cases, growing up. I know how it is growing up and staying with people, and there was another situation where I was down and bad, and I was just asking for $5 to everybody, to every family member that I knew in the city, every so-called friend. And I tell you the truth, let them tell it. Everybody was broke and didn't even have $5 to spend. So when you go through stuff like that, it make you bitter. It make you realize that you on your own. Make you feel like people don't really care for you. I felt like my family didn't care for me. I remember during that time I was, walking the streets and hungry. That I don't think my family's seen me, but I seen them. And they pulled up at I think it was KFC. They pulled up to get something to eat, you know, and here I am, hungry, walking the streets. And here they are, all together in the car looking happy, going to get something to eat, with no care in the world, seemed like about me. But not going into details of why I left this second time, but I left, and even though I had difficulties with my family and mother, I love them to death, and I regret speaking to my mama how I done. I disrespected my mama plenty times, called her out her name. Uh, she made me very angry with her multiple times, and I think because I love her so much that you know, I don't know, I just respected more out of her and felt like she always took sides and it wasn't my side. I felt like I was the black sheep of the family. And you can say sometimes I made myself the black sheep. I isolated myself and made myself the villain at times. You know, but nevertheless, one thing about my mama, she did it basically by herself, raised me and my three sisters, and she never abandoned us, left us alone. We had our struggles growing up. We wasn't the richest. I know all about the struggle, very well. But maybe that's another story for another day, if the most I will. But she never complained. She never threw up in my face. I did this and that for she just you know I knew she loved me, and it shows. You know you don't realize what you have until it's gone. You know, a lot of times. And I wish while she was here, I wish when she was here, I wish I would have appreciated her more. I wish she would have seen a better version of me. And I also wish that I would have been there for her more with her needs because looking back, I was selfish. You know, my mama was sick and I knew she was sick, but you know, she was on dialysis. You know, I never went to see her at dialysis. I never, you know, just consider what I never considered really what she was going through. You know, she used to uh, tell us that how she feel and how dialysis made her feel, and uh, you know, and how weak she'll be, and that she didn't feel like that. You know, at that time, it just my heart was hardened, and didn't have the love of the Most High in me. And the truth is, I didn't care. You know, if I would be honest and look back at, I really didn't care because if I did care, then I would have cared. I would have showed some action. I would have been more considerate. You know, I would have catered to her a little bit more. But I was young and uh, believing the lie that the world tell us. You know, I just I guess quote unquote want to win. You know, want to be successful, but not knowing how to be successful. Want respect and honor, and you know, and all those things. But nevertheless, I left the house. Packed my clothes up. I didn't have that many clothes, so all my clothes felt in a little duffel bag that I had that I threw across my back, and I had a cover, threw a cover across my shoulders. And here I am walking down the street with a duffel bag and a cover, and nowhere to go. Like I said, I definitely uh, wasn't going to ask nobody, you know, after how I've been treated, you know. So went to the woods and I sat up camp, and for days I went hungry. You know, I used to go to my homeboy, my Marquell house. You know, most of the time I walk the street so much I'd be so tired. I just needed to go somewhere and sit down. And I go over there to my Marquell house and we'll play video games and talk trash. Before you know it, I'll fall asleep on this couch, you know, because that's how tired I'd be. And I used to always fall asleep on this couch. And, you know, if his family member be cooking anything, they always offer, you know, you want something? You know, they don't even offer. They be like, here, come get you a plate. I fix you a plate. So, you know, I appreciate that love that they show me. And, you know, me and him still tight to this day. You know, but I didn't tell him that I was homeless or what I was going through. I didn't tell nobody. You know, it was a couple homeboys. I just stop at their house and hang out, you know, because I didn't have nothing to do and nowhere to go. But I never told them that, you know, I ain't had nowhere to stay. And I believed it in the Most High, but, you know, I didn't feel the Most High. I really didn't read the Bible. And like most people of the world that grew up in this so-called Christianity, this worldly Christianity, you don't really trust the church. That make you not really trust the Bible, make you not really trust the Most High, because you see how wicked the people in the church is, and still taking upon myself to have a relationship with the Father and read the scripture for myself. A couple times I did try to read, and it didn't make sense to me. It was hard, and and that's how I was. I was blinded. I still prayed and believed in the Most High. And one day I was sitting in the woods, and it was getting ready to rain. And this the first time ever. This is the first time ever it started, and it finally started to rain. And so here I am in this woods with nothing but a cover. And I'm like, man, I'm about to get soaked. And these dark clouds coming and it's thundering. And I feel a couple drops. And at that point, I just break down. My body ache from walking the streets all the time and not really having nowhere to lay down and sleep. I'm hungry. I don't smell too good, probably don't look too good. And I just spoke from my heart. And I told the Most High. And I meant it. I was just had a real moment where I was at the crossroad and I just didn't know. And I said, this when I didn't know his name. I wasn't keeping his laws. And I said, Father, and I'm quoting because I don't know the exact words I said, but I know what I said. I said, if you real, if you truly exist, and if you hear my prayers, if you hear me, and if you see me, and if you love me, because like I said, at this point I felt like nobody really loved me. So I was like, if you love me, before it start raining, let me be in a warm bed. What let me be in a warm bed with a roof over my head, looking out at the rain. And I just wanted him to show up for me. I just wanted to know if he really loved me. I just wanted to know if he really hear me. Are you the God that they say you are? Can you deliver me? And will you deliver me if you can? This is what I'm asking. Before it start raining, let me be in a warm, let me be somewhere with a roof over my head on a warm bed, looking at the window, at the rain. I said, before it rains, let this happen. Let me be in a warm bed with a roof over my head, looking out the window at the rain. And I don't even really truly know why I said that. And after I said that prayer, I got up and I walked out the woods. And while I was walking out the woods, I bumped into my daddy. Now my daddy never really been in my life. I remember memos of him when I was a kid. but ever since a kid, he's never really been in my life. And it's always been mama. And me and my daddy, we didn't really have no relationship at all. And I come out the woods and I bump into my daddy. And the first thing he say was, I've been looking for you. I stopped by your mama house. She say she don't know where you at, but you don't stay there no more. He say, where you staying at? And me, I say, well, I'm staying somewhere. And he said, well, wherever you staying, get your stuff and come over to my place. I got a apartment in Butler Homes in the projects, and this the number. And I'm about to go do something, but go ahead and get your stuff and go in there. I already got a bed in the room for you, and the door is unlocked. This is the number. You know, I want you to come stay with me. Of course, I didn't know what to say, but I was happy. And I grabbed my stuff, and the woods that I was in wasn't too far from the projects. So I got my stuff, and I went to the projects. I went in there. He walked in. I knew the room that was his room because I seen the big master bed and the dresser. And then the other room, I seen the little small TV in the bed. So I went in that room, and it was so warm in there, cozy and warm. And because it was kind of chilly outside, and I walked in there and I sat down on the bed and I looked out the window and it started raining. I always get choked up. It started raining and I couldn't do nothing but hit my knees and say, thank you, Most High. I mean, I asked him, let me be somewhere with a roof over my head, sitting on a warm bed, looking out the window before it rains, or looking out at the rain before I get rained on. And at that moment, I'm asking him to do the impossible. I'm in the woods, I ain't got nowhere to go. How? It's about to rain on me, it's already dropping little drops. How the Most High gonna get me in a warm place with a bed and have me looking out the window before it start raining? And you know, uh, that's when I knew that the Most High, He truly is, and He hear prayers. And like I said, that's just one of my testimonies of the Most High showing up and showing out for me. But the confession that I want to confess was, like I said, my daddy really wasn't there for me my whole life. And I remember my mama telling me, you know, he gonna need you before, I remember my mama telling me and my sisters, he gonna need y'all before you need him. And she said, when that day come, don't turn him down, be there for him. And find out that my daddy was sick and he was getting ready to pass away. And you know, by me being there, I was able to be there to help him, and also to develop a new relationship and ask him questions that I always wanted to ask him. And really, it was the most I, you know, just putting everything together, being a blessing and allowing for me to be there to actually, look after my daddy develop a relationship with him before he passed. But my sisters, them, they wasn't hearing none of that. They were, they wasn't trying to hear none of that. But he used to have money hidden up under his mattress. A couple of hundreds here, a couple of hundreds there. And he used to trust me with it to go to the store. And he always, tell me to get a 20 or a 10. And, he'll tell me to go to the store. He'll tell me to keep the change or whatever. And he'll have me to go and buy him a pack of cigarettes. And I remember one day we had an argument. And I was in my feelings. And I was like, man, this dude, he ain't done that for me all my life. And he talking to me like that. And uh, I went up under the mattress and I stole a couple of $100. And, and this time my daddy, he's really can't see that well. Uh, so I didn't know my daddy, he still was clever, he was smart. Somehow he knew how much money he had. And he knew that if I took anything, he would have known. But I never took anything up until that point. And yeah, I stole from my daddy while he was dying, or what I consider, while he was on his deathbed. And that's something that I hate I done. And at the time I didn't do nothing with the money but smoke and drink it up, try to buy some weed so I can sell it, but end up smoking most of the weed and using the money to buy junk food. And but as a daddy do, he told me it hurted him. He told me I know what he did, and I apologized to him, and you know he didn't hold against me. I don't think, but I know from that day forward, he didn't allow for me to go up under his mattress. He moved his money, I guess, somewhere else, and didn't allow for me to uh, go to the store for him no more. But and I knew I hurt my dad. I knew I did when I did that. And a part of me wanted to say, well, because I had a little resentment because, growing up, a lot of things we went through, he wasn't there, and I felt like he should have been there. And, and a part of me felt like I was entitled to that money. Uh, but the truth is, it wasn't my money, and I stole from my daddy while he was sick, and why I should have been there, caring from him. I stole from him. Now I wasn't stealing from him. That was the one and the only time I done that. But uh, that's my confession. This is my testimony and my confession. And a testimony, for those that may be going through something, it may be hard, and you wonder, is there's a Most High? Hopefully, this testimony give you courage and inspire you, and let you know, yes, there is a Most High. And just talk to him and be real with him. And I'm still learning how to go before the Almighty. But from my understanding, from what He allowed for me to understand is, you know, even from reading the Holy Scriptures. That's the thing. We can't go by our own understanding. Everything we need is in that book. And he tell us he want truth in the inward part. You know, he want us to come to him honest because he already know. And he want us to cry out before him. And as the apostles wrote, cast my cares, cast your cares on him. Cast your cares upon him because he do care. And I'm a proud example of he's able to do any and all things. And he showed me many times in my life. So no matter what you're going through, you know, sometimes you may feel like you done too much, that the Most High ain't gonna hear you, or that, you know, you don't know how to pray. You know, just talk to him. Just open up and be honest to him. Call on him. You know, and at the time I didn't even know his name. But now that I know his name, you know, it's many people, there's a couple ways people say it. Is H is YHWH. So most people pronounce that Yahuwah or Yahweh or Yahweh. But like I said, back then I didn't know his name and I didn't know his son name. Uh, most people pronounce his son name Yahushua or Yahweh, or you know. But now that I do know a little bit more about him, and the scripture says, proclaim his name and call upon his name and his son name. Not no titles, not no interpretation of his name. It said his name. You know, we just need to honor that, you know, and glorify his name. Give him honor. Give his name honor. You know, we need to, the scripture says, proclaim his name and call upon his name. So, like I said, from my understanding and research, it's, it's Yahweh. Some people say Yahuwah. Some people say Yahweh. But, or Yahweh. But, you know, people got different dialects. Well, till next time, hope this been a blessing. Shalom.